Hello, friends, and welcome to my show, High Earning Coaches. I'm Ashley Jangro, your host, and today we are hearing from Jeff Herring. Jeff, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to interview you.
It's my pleasure.
Jeff is, I'm so excited to interview him because Jeff is really unique when it comes to a lot of the interviews I do. I've interviewed so many coaches, and a lot of times we have very similar ways of building our businesses. And Jeff's is completely unique. So I'm very excited to dig into this. Jeff refers to himself as the content profit coach. Jeff, what does that mean, the content profit coach?
Well, when I first started out, I was known as the article marketing guy, teaching people how to create articles for traffic. And that came from something we'll talk about later. And then I decided to, instead of niching down, I niched up into content marketing
Mhm.
and then was doing five different pieces of that. And just, I kept niching down and niching down and niching down and realized there just wasn't a whole lot out there was a lot about creating content and this and that, but not a lot about profiting with your content. Like,
Mhm.
so let's make some money with this stuff. And so that's where the content profit coach came from.
I love this. So, as you're listening today, I want you to listen for the unique ways that Jeff used to build his business, but also the advice he's going to provide you that you can use to go out and build your business, whether you're just starting out, whether you want to grow your business. But he has some unique ways of teaching you how to use what you already have to create streams of profit, to create different income streams that don't just come from one-on-one coaching. So if you're a coach right now, you're listening to this and you most of your income comes from either courses or one-on-one coaching or group coaching programs, I really want you to listen because you're going to learn some ways that you can create revenue in your business that you probably have not thought of yet. So I'm so excited to dig into that. So just to start out, let's go back to the beginning. I know that you started out as a counselor, as a therapist. How did you kind of switch gears into wanting to create income online?
I got divorced.
Okay.
That's about it. I mean, I was used playing with the internet because I realized you could broadcast the message more
Uh-huh.
that way. But in October of 15, got divorced. That was not a surprise, almost a relief in some ways. Um, but what was a surprise was the mom's decision to move from Tallahassee to Atlanta. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
realized I had to get mobile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent most of '06 going back and forth between the two cities, um, and found myself one night, Saturday before Christmas. So yeah, the 23rd, was driving up here, going to see the boys on Christmas Eve. And I'm kind of taking stock of everything because I've been paying now for a year for my business, my
Mm-hmm.
house, and their house. Okay. And I'm taking stock of everything, thinking, wow, there's some orders coming in, but it's going to be blocked by Christmas. And I've got enough to either stay in the hotel I've been kind of living in, okay, and not do a thing with the boys the next day,
Mm-hmm.
or not stay in the hotel and do something with the boys. So I stayed up in Starbucks working on my laptop as long as they'd have me, and then just drove around a bit. I thought, you know what? That hotel has Wi-Fi that goes out into the parking lot. I'll just sit in the SUV all night, work on the laptop, take a couple naps. I'll be okay for one night. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's freezing. So I thought, okay, well, they know me in the lobby because I've been here so much. Went in there, was doing the same thing. Um, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, a friend of mine I just met online, he was local. He sent out a really cool Christmas guitar version. And I remember thinking, okay, that's God saying, I know this sucks, Jeff, but it's going to be all right. And
Mm-hmm.
so I decided around then to get really, really good at something online so that this would never happen again, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that thing was content creation. Came up with some content, fill in the blank content templates. And the bookend of that hotel story is about 2 years later, that same friend, Mike Stewart, and I would hold day-long workshops in the same hotel on the fifth floor in the conference room. And we'd go downstairs to start the day, and I'd tell this story,
Uh-huh.
basically trying to say, look, I get it. If
Yeah.
you're here or worse, there's hope. Okay. And so that first year, I did two things. I did the online business
Mm-hmm.
and stumbled into a relationship coaching radio show here in Atlanta, and did that for a year. The problem was it took me an hour to get down there, an
Mhm.
hour to get back, an hour to prepare, and an hour to do it. Right.
Mhm.
So that was 4 hours I could be spending on this business.
Mhm.
So that's what I did. And then, that's been going on for years. The templates are still selling. 17 years later, it's crazy. Um, and that kind of led to what I'm doing now as we niche deeper into content profit.
Uh-huh.
Um, I started doing the show back in August of 22. Um, yeah, August of 22.
Mhm.
Had been looking for a way to pivot and do something different. And had met that evening before with a couple friends from a mastermind, and they gave me some ideas. I woke up with the idea at 5:30 the next morning. Okay. And I still coach folks. Earlier today, I was putting together some content for people with some
Okay.
tools. Friday, I spent, no, Thursday, I spent like, those days when you kind of blaze through. I
Mhm.
did 4 half hours and 2 hours. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, you know how you feel after that. And so it started then. And my original intention was to do a show, do a teaching thing like I did webinars and
Mhm.
interviews once a week. Okay, well, I did that for 3 weeks. And I thought, all right, here we go again. I don't have the passion for this because this was my fourth podcast I
You
tried.
were enjoying it.
No, I wasn't. So I went, all right, let's try something different. So that next Monday, I had a guest who'd been with me for a while
Mhm.
and walked her through what she could turn her blog post into in terms of products, right? And then lay that all out. And she's going nuts, and the audience is going nuts. And maybe I shouldn't tell this part, but I'm gonna. When we talked afterwards, in what I call the next success steps
Uh-huh.
section, I made up an offer on the spot. It didn't exist. I had to go build.
No, I love this.
Literally,
I love that you're saying this. Do you remember what the offer was?
yeah, it was a 5K offer for me to run her Medium account for
Uh-huh.
traffic and build out a couple products
Oh
and
my
coach
goodness.
through all of that.
So before we keep going with this, I want to
Yeah,
stop because I know what your show is. I love it. I think it's the most phenomenal idea ever. But I want you to tell us about the show really quickly. So this is the idea
sure.
you had at 5:30 in the morning. What did
Right.
you create right there?
Well, with that, what happens is I invite somebody to come on and bring a piece of content.
Hmm.
Okay. And, I come on, ask a question about the content, play the intro, come back, we're both on, make some announcements, introduce whoever it is. And then we dive right in, looking at their content. Okay.
Hmm.
And it can be anything. It can be a blog post, article, video, um, table of contents. We've done that kind of thing
Yeah.
before. Any piece of content you want to bring, we'll figure it out. And then I go to what I call my draft ascension model
Mhm.
and showing them 5 or 6 different products. And then we drill deep on one. And so after 20 minutes or less, they've got from their piece of content a profitable digital product pretty much done. It's outlined and they just got to fill in the blanks.
Yeah. And they can go create a passive income stream with it. I mean, there's
Exactly.
some work that they have to do. Maybe it's they've decided to do a webinar, so they create the webinar, but then they have
Right.
the path for a passive income stream. And the reason I want to emphasize that is two reasons. Number one, you and I were recently recording an interview for a summit that we're doing, and
Right.
you explained how someone could use this exact idea that you had done. They can have an idea for how they can bring value into the world and create a show out of it and charge people to be on that show and then use it not only to to make income from charging people to be on the show, but then use it as a way to sell them into a higher package, which I think is what you're talking about, this $5,000 offer.
Right.
So that's one thing. The other lens through that I want people to see this through is not only can they create a show and create income like this, but you have this offer where they can come to you and bring a piece of content and learn from you how they can use that piece of content to create passive income. So just those two things I think are really informative ways that coaches can create more income.
And,
So
it's fun.
yeah,
And really, as I showed you on that show we did for that summit, anybody can do this. I mean,
yes.
every one of us, everybody listening to this, watching this, whether you know it or not, you got a superpower. Okay,
Mhm.
something that's super easy for you to do. Okay. So where the X marks the spot is one line is whatever that superpower is.
Hmm.
Next line is a deep need in your niche that's unmet that people have trouble doing. Where those two meet is your product sweet spot or
Hmm.
your whatever your superpower. And so what I recommend is people identify what that is.
Hmm.
Whatever you could accomplish and deliver in 20 minutes. Okay. So it's not the whole picture. It's
Right.
one little piece that you deliver in 20 minutes. The next thing you do is you create some content around that, some blog posts, some videos, and see what the reaction is. Okay, you may get great reaction to one or two and to the others. So then you test the two, and whatever does the best, you go, okay, that's my thing. Okay, you
Mhm.
pay attention to the results. Okay,
Yes. So just to bring this to make it very accessible, you did this. You realized, okay, I have this sweet spot that people want. And so what did you do? You created a Medium article, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So the
it was
piece of content that you created. Hmm.
21 income streams from one article.
Hmm.
um, it took off. It
Yeah.
just, I mean, I just, it was just another day and another article for me. But it blew up, and it is still my top grossing, top viewed, and top read, and top commented on article on Medium. This month so far, it's still number 6 or number 7.
Oh my goodness. And that's what gave you, I mean, that was a piece of what gave you this idea of, oh, this piece took off. So just like you're recommending coaches create some content, see what takes off, this piece took off for you. And you were like, oh, I can create a show out of this that I can charge for, that I can
Yeah,
use to upsell into a bigger package. And um will help people make money.
yes, yes, which is
Okay.
my favorite thing to think about getting up in the morning. I get to help people help people.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's so amazing.
this is cool. And so, yeah, whatever that superpower is, test it out. I mean, I did something different. I usually jump on an idea like the next day or that day.
Uh-huh.
This I kind of played out to test, and I tested it by doing some shows on it, doing a couple products.
Hmm.
And then I took the whole summer of 22, created the first summer of profit, and helped people take their content and turn it into 10 different products over the summer.
So
Um,
you took that one, I mean, I'm going to keep referring back to this article. So your
yeah,
21
that's
ways to make profit,
right,
you took this and you created it into kind of a challenge and you invited people to come be part of this challenge.
right,
Do you
right.
remember what you charged for that?
For the summer of profit, I think was 297.
Okay. So they
Because
were going to come learn 10 different ways to make money from their content. Okay.
part of my idea behind that is I decided to take the summer off and
Hmm.
well, off from normal life anyway. Sold or gave away everything I had except my car, my dog, and me, and the laptop, and just spin it up in the North Georgia mountains, Airbnb to Airbnb or friend's house to friend's house. Um, and essentially, the people that had joined the Summer of Profit paid for that summer, which
Oh,
kind
wow.
of cool.
So
Yeah,
it's like you chose something you wanted to do and then found a way to finance it. So
exactly.
what did that was videos and live meetings?
Yeah, live videos. I love
Okay.
doing teaching live because you get the
Uh-huh.
interaction.
Yeah.
Each week we would do a live training video, let's say on mini courses. Okay. It
Hmm.
was on Monday, I think. And then on Thursday, we'd do a Q&A around that. And the other thing about it that was cool, I wound up with 10 different products I could sell, teaching each one of those ways to create content. I
So
mean,
the
create
first week, for example, when you were doing a video teaching how to start a mini course, then you could put that on your website and sell it as a course.
Yep, and it's
Oh,
still
that's
there.
phenomenal.
All of those. So yeah, this has a lot of pieces to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that are
I mean,
fun.
it really makes me realize how you get every little bit of value out of everything you create.
That's a really good way to look at it. And that's the secret to me of repurposing,
Mm-hmm.
because we all know that the quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again that doesn't work,
Mm-hmm.
thinking it's going to work or whatever. Okay.
Yep.
Well, hypersanity is taking a piece of content and using it over and over again
Mm-hmm.
for great results and profit. Okay. So that's the whole thing behind repurposing. And that's really what we do with this. And so that ended, and I thought, I want to do this more. And
Hmm.
that's where the show came from, and I thought, well, most people do these things for free. And I didn't know that there were people out there charging $3,500 to be on a podcast, And so I thought, all right, 97 bucks. All right. And I sent out a couple emails about that and started it and continued to promote it. And within a couple of weeks, doing it twice a week,
Uh-huh.
the rest of that year, 22 was filled out. And we started booking into 23. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, I might be onto something here.
This might be working. So if
Yeah.
you're a coach that's listening, it's something, exactly what Jeff is describing is finding that sweet spot where it's something that you are incredibly talented and skilled at and something that people want. And then charge for it, send out an email to your list, let them know, hey, I'm going to start charging, this is the cost to do this. Come do this thing with me. So for you, it was looking at a person's piece of content, any
Mhm.
piece of content, and telling them, here's how you could turn that into a piece of content that you could make money out of. For a coach, it might be some sort of coaching session or some sort of, if it's a career coach, doing a career coaching session with somebody, helping them figure out
Sure,
their ideal career for the future. Or, I
sure.
mean, if you can think of any examples off the top of your head, but something where they could not just do it for pay, but then make it into a show.
You're doing a little piece of coaching. I have a client. I just love this woman. Her whole entire niche is Maine Coon cats,
Oh my goodness. Okay.
which I didn't know they existed until we worked together, and apparently
Uh-huh.
they're enormous
They're
cats.
enormous.
Yeah. And so she comes on and helps people uh, take better care of their cats. And
Okay.
usually the person brings a problem and she solves it, one problem, in 20 minutes or less. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I've got another person that does it with herbal remedies.
Mm-hmm.
I've got business people. Because of my background, I've got marriage and family therapists doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so really, I haven't yet, I haven't found two things, and I don't ever expect them to. To find them. I've never found a piece of content I can't do this with, or
Uh-huh.
somebody's content. And I never found anybody that can't create a show like this.
Oh, this is so fascinating. So anything, I mean, any type of coach there is, they can find something they can help people within 20 minutes, start charging for that. But that's not where it ends. Then they go turn that into a piece of content.
Right,
So
right,
it becomes, maybe if she's helping someone with their Maine Coon cat, then that becomes her library of content.
right. Exactly.
It just, it's like a win-win-win. It just keeps providing
Win,
value.
win, 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 win. And
Yeah.
it goes along with my original mentor slogan because he talks about Tom Antian talks about two work models. Okay.
Uh-huh.
The accepted one is you work once, get paid, work once,
Hmm.
get paid, work again, get paid, work again, get paid. Okay. This one is you work once and get paid, get paid, get paid, get paid, get paid, get paid some more. I like number two.
I
Um,
do too. I like that idea. Yeah.
And so what happens is it's the fastest 20 minutes they've ever spent and you'll ever spend if you do it this way.
Hmm.
It goes by so quick. And I say, and I hope it's the most profitable 20 minutes you ever spent. And then we wrap it up and I do the sign off. And then that person and I off camera, just
Hmm.
the two of us, not being recorded. And then I kind of walk them through what they've looked at and what is what's next and that kind of thing. And if I want to, that's an important distinction. If I want to, I invite them into. Right now, it's usually the Content Profit University
Hmm.
where I help people. Well, actually, I do it for them from content all the way to products. And so, we talk a little bit, and my favorite transition is, well, would you like some help with all this?
Hmm.
And so far, no one said no.
Mm.
And of course, I want to get them in the Content Profit University. But if for some reason that doesn't work for them right now, we can take a step back and get into my membership with the notion that, okay, do that stuff. It's the same stuff,
Hmm.
but do it yourself. Okay. And, let's work on that to where you can do this other stuff and really take off.
Yeah. So it allowed you, this opportunity where you help them, you show them this is how it's going to make you profit. And then that allowed you to say, okay, you can finance this next piece, which is first of all, more education, but then second of all, done for you services.
Right.
So that's where you offer to take that piece of content and do all of the kind of technical behind the scenes stuff to make that into a profitable venture.
The technical stuff. It's basically, blog post articles, and then lead magnets, which are now being called mini offers, I think. I kind of like
Okay.
that idea because it's
Yeah.
consistent making offers, right? And then the email follow-up sequence to that,
Uh-huh.
and then sales page,
Hmm.
and then the product, and all those pieces that go in there, it's done for you.
Hmm. And so when you have clients, you're meeting with these individuals, they come onto your show and you say you decide, okay, we talked about the table of contents last time.
Right?
This These 7 chapters are each going to become their own, I think it was webinar or mini course. And you explained what happens when people they don't have the technical know-how to go out and create that. Do you give them advice on, set up a website with Squarespace, get a PayPal button, all of that?
The cool thing is that we're in a time where you don't need all the old technical stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can do a lot without a website now,
Mm-hmm.
with school and with Gumroad and all kind of places. And the biggest hang up I see for people is that they think they need to have one of those big fancy um, course creators or whatever to
Mm-hmm.
deliver, or to have a membership, right? And so what I tell people when they first start out is, look, if you've got a WordPress blog, you got everything you need because you can password protect pages on a WordPress blog. Okay. I recommend people using ConvertKit because they can get 1,000 followers for free.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they create really nice opt-in pages. And I like to teach people how to do that so they're not dependent on me. But if they need me
Mm.
to, sure, we'll do it together. And so, we end up building with most folks 2 to 3 products over 5 months. And then they're done with the first part of the university.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I mentioned this on the other show. Then it becomes, all right, we've got this rolling,
Mm-hmm.
going good. One of the next big steps is learning how to run one of these things
Mm-hmm.
for years and years. So we can continue on at X a month, and you'll have access to me, and I'll coach you. I'll basically be coaching you
Mm-hmm.
through how to run your business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 3 streams of income from one show, and it's a blast. I
I
mean,
love this.
I
Well,
overdid it one time. I went to 5 shows a week, and that was fun for about 2 weeks. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too much.
yeah.
And so now we do 2.
Well, and so that became $500 a week just from people coming onto the show. But then you were making them an offer for them to, um, add on an whatever package it was, whether it was the membership or the done for you services.
Right.
So that
Right.
was really, you were doing well with your income at that point.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people want to come on the show because obviously it's going to help them make money. So it's just incredible to me. The reason I asked that question about the technology is I want people listening right now to understand you could replicate this exact model where you start a show, you're charging for it, whether it's a podcast or YouTube show or whatever, you're charging for it, you're turning that into an offer. And you don't have to know how to tell someone, here's all the pieces of technology that you go use to do this, because YouTube exists, because it's so
Yes.
easy. Once people have that idea, it's so easy for them to go out and research and figure out how to do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love YouTube for that.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of stuff on my car and other things with YouTube. So
Right? You can,
thanks.
same here. There's so many things I've done around my house that I would have no idea how to do, but I can go YouTube it and figure it out pretty quickly.
I love it. And there's more to it even than that, Ashley, because the way I do it is I record it on StreamYard. It's a video.
Mhm.
And we wrap up, and that automatically goes out to YouTube, okay, from StreamYard to YouTube. And then the first thing I do after the whole thing is done, with the guest, is I go download the audio and
Mhm.
upload it to Captivate.fm, and then it goes out all over all the main podcast places. Okay. So the person is getting a ton of publicity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you never do anything else. They spent 97 bucks and they're going to get promoted like crazy. And then I'll take an article, I'll take their video and podcast and turn it into an article over on Medium for them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the really go-getter um, students have in their own Medium account, they've written an article about what we did and included.
Mm-hmm.
So it just I don't think I know I don't use every way I know to repurpose it. And I think I'll think of some that I haven't yet because it just keeps growing.
Right. And you could have done 10 of these episodes and continued to make content from them indefinitely, but you continued to do the episodes. So, how did you make all those decisions? How did you decide, okay, I'm going to put it on Medium and I'm going to make it into a podcast? How did you reach that point?
That's a great question. That idea came at 5. I woke up at 5:30 with it kind of downloaded. And then the rest of it was just kind of in a way it was making it up as I go along.
Mm-hmm.
And out of my background, okay, because I've been repurposing stuff since therapist days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, had a I had a relationship column in the local newspaper. Came out every Monday. It's a kick too to walk out to your driveway and pick up a paper and there's my picture. Cool. Um, and so I cut that out of the paper, and that brought me most of my clients because I could have my phone number in there and everybody's
Ah,
reading that
mm-hmm.
and boom. And then it got syndicated nationally and internationally. And so that's when I started phone coaching
Mm-hmm.
or it blew me away when I did this. This wealthy couple from New York flew into little old Tallahassee, Florida, stayed in a bed and breakfast, saw me for a week, and then flew back, and we did continue doing phone coaching.
Uh-huh.
And so, back when I was a therapist, I would cut that piece of that column out of the paper. Okay, that's on
Uh-huh.
Monday. Put it up on the bulletin board in my office. Make copies of it so no one left my office without something in their hand.
Uh-huh.
That week's column with my contact info on it. So they take it to work and toss it on the desk, and somebody's like, "Well, what's that?" Well,
Yeah.
oh, I got your number from. Um, and so on Wednesday, I would take it over to the number one soft rock morning show in town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we'd record one live. We'd do one live about 7, and then record one for Friday, right? All about the article, all about the column.
Uh-huh.
And some people would say, "Dude, you get paid for this?" I said, "No." "Well, what are you doing going over there at 6:30 every Wednesday morning?" And
Mm-hmm.
my response was, "All right, what do you think it would cost on the number one morning show, soft rock in town, to have 6 minutes a week dedicated to you and what you do?"
Mm.
It went, "Oh."
Mm-hmm.
And then once a month, I would slough out to the NBC station. I was the Good Morning Family Therapist, and
Okay.
would sit there and talk about the column. I got to tell this fun story about one time because became friends with the interviewer, and we were we were 2 of 3 judges at some Mardi Gras costume dance
Okay.
night, and I was laughing at something we were talking about. I'd said something smart, Alec, and she went back to just kind of tease me, poked me right in the eye with her fingernail.
Oh,
Hurt so bad.
yeah.
Fortunately, no bad damage done, but it hurt. And so we had an interview about 2 weeks later. Okay. So I was, all dressed up in the appropriate clothes. And between, her doing the news and then going back and changing her clothes, I put on an eye patch over the eye that and she comes out and sits down and goes, "We're live in 30 minutes. Get that off." What she did. I mean, we just got to kind of wing it. Come on, it's 10 seconds. And about 5 seconds it left, I took it off and hid it under my leg.
Oh, that's funny.
It's
So,
fun.
how did you get these opportunities? You're talking about you had a radio show and a column in the paper and all of that. If I were listening as a coach, I would think, okay, that sounds great. And we could take today's equivalent of it. So maybe you do a weekly column in someone's Facebook group or
Yeah.
you are,
Yeah.
wherever. How do you get those opportunities?
Okay. So here's a quote. When you're bold, doors open for you,
Mm-hmm.
and there are doors that might not open for anybody else but you. Okay. I I was born introverted. I'm basically an introvert, but I've taught myself this extroverted stuff. So when I test out, I'm right down the middle.
Hmm.
Okay. And so, you know, you ask,
Hmm.
you look and you ask. The first TV shot I ever did, I saw somebody doing a noon show and thought, I can do better than that. So I wrote the station and said, da, 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 da. They invited me in. I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking it's going to be an interview like this, right? 30 seconds before we went live, they're putting a bug in my ear to take, questions from callers. I'm like, oh, this is a baptism by fire. And so you be bold,
Huh?
even when you're shaking, okay? And then you experiment. The things I'm talking about that
Hmm.
work are the result of trying a lot of things that didn't work, right?
Hmm.
And so that stuff I did as a therapist, column in the newspaper, radio show, TV show. The online equivalent is blog post, articles,
Hmm.
podcasts, and video.
Yeah.
And so you just play around with where you get the biggest audience. I started Medium back in 2012 and then left it alone until about 2019 and
Okay.
picked it up because it had gotten better. And so you try stuff, try Gumroad, try school, try all of the things and see which one fits.
And for
And that's
clarification with Medium, you've told me this before, but how do you make money off of Medium?
okay. There's several ways.
Hmm.
Okay. The first one is, and this is really crazy. You get paid for your content on
Hmm.
there. And you join the partner program and you get paid. Now, unless you're one of the 1%, this is not going to make you a full-time living.
Right.
Okay. But what I get every month goes into a separate Chime account
Hmm.
on a debit card, and it's my mad money. Money I don't got to think about spending, uh,
Hmm.
or I save it all for the holidays, one or the other. Okay,
Mm.
that's way one. Okay.
Okay.
The other way is that in almost every article on Medium, I'll have an opt-in.
Hmm.
Okay? And it's a freebie, but then they're on my list.
You're building
Then
your
they're
list
going
that
to
way.
be in the
Give me an
content.
example of one that you might use as a freebie.
Um, what platform I would use or
No,
what?
so if it's a Medium article and you're putting an opt-in in there, what's an
Okay.
example of
Oh,
one that you
okay.
might use?
Okay. Two of my most typical ones are getting that it's a flip book on 21 income streams from
Mhm.
one article. You've heard that title before. The other one is 12 article ideas from the article vault. And another one I think is something about titles. But this weekend, it dawned on me that I'd been missing this huge opportunity for the last 138 shows. And started working on it today. I'm working on an opt-in to where they opt in to go watch one of the shows.
Oh, so they receive a link. So they opt in and then they receive an email with a link to go watch one of the shows.
Right, right. Or get
Okay.
tickets right away to the show.
Yeah. So that
So they
you're
get to
building your
watch,
show audience.
building the show audience, and of course, there's a link on every one of those, opt-in pages they get or results pages they get to sign up for a content profit seat. So
Which is to be a
be on the show. Yeah,
participant on the show. I
absolutely.
love this so much. Okay. And the reason I ask that is I want people listening to see. That's funny, listening to see, watching to see, listening to hear. I want you to hear. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can have three pieces of content. And every time you write a Medium article that you are using to fill an account that you're going to use for Christmas presents, for example, you can use those same three over and over. And it's
Well,
just, yeah. And it's
absolutely.
another, so you're making some money off of Medium or Substack or wherever you're writing. You're also using it to build your email list. You
Absolutely.
also then have them go to a page where they receive an offer from you, whether that's to work with you, book a consult call, whether that's to be on your show, whatever it is.
All of those things. And then another way from Medium, every article usually has an opt-in and an offer. Right? Usually a low ticket kind of thing,
Mhm.
just buying behavior. Okay.
So that's like one of your courses. Maybe it's from
Right.
that summer of profit,
Exactly
your
right.
first week, which was on mini courses. How much does it cost? Do you know off the top of your head?
Well, you know what I've been doing? This is kind of crazy, but it's working. Um, because these were like between 197 and 297
Uh-huh.
and selling just fine. but I thought, what did I do it for? I think I did it for March Madness. I decided to do some crazy things. So I offered a few of them for 17 bucks each.
Okay.
Now, again, you're not, unless you sell thousands, it's not going to be that big
Right.
a deal. But what I noticed from the first one, oh, no, I know it started. It was a Super Bowl because I sent out the email, went to go pick up some food, and coming back, I was getting all the dings on my phone from the orders. I'm like, okay, this
Mm-hmm.
is um, about half of those people that invested had never bought anything before. So now they've gone from, lookers to buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And one or two of them, um, one in particular, is now in Content Profit University. They tried that, they got the course,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, they wanted more. And so
Mm-hmm.
here's a way to get more. And so those are at least four ways to make money with Medium.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're anywhere in a niche like I am, you can teach it. And there's a lot of Medium stuff training out there. And if you're not, don't worry about it. You already got 4 or 5 streams anyway.
Mm-hmm. And I
And
want
it's
to emphasize you're not making new pieces of content for this all the time. You're making one piece for Medium. You have your show that becomes
yeah,
content.
yeah.
So, how many hours a week do you think you use creating content?
Let me put it this way. All right. I usually start in about 7 or 8 in the
Uh-huh.
morning. Um, the goal I'm working on is to be done by 2
Uh-huh.
every day. And just take Duke, my dog, and go hiking. So how many hours do I do it? Creating content for myself, maybe a half hour a day.
Wow.
Creating content for other folks. Like today, I've done 3 of my clients' work and
Mm-hmm.
created content for them. And the package I send has got the blog post or the article, 10 possible titles, 2 different calls to action to choose from, all the social stuff in the world you would want, 2 emails to promote it,
Oh
and
my
a few
goodness.
things I'm not thinking of right
How are you creating all that so quickly?
now. 2 ways.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Chat GPT now has a way that you can create your own GPTs,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got several of those. And there is another system that will remain nameless because you don't want to show
You
all
only
the
give it all away. Yeah.
yeah, they want to show completely how the sausage is made. But my mentor calls it the whammy jammy machine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's WJM. And I use that because I have each person fill out a 36 question questionnaire. And the first one's their name, so it's a good
Mm-hmm.
start. And then I plug that into the machine, and that gives everything I ask for with their background, their
Yes.
expertise. It's written in their voice,
I love it.
clients. And
This is
so
one of my favorite things to talk about because I love training AI to write in our voice. I think
isn't
it's
it fun?
phenomenal.
Isn't it
Mm-hmm.
fun? And for those of you out there that don't know, it's all about the prompts.
Yep.
Okay. Just like old computer stuff, garbage in, garbage out. You
Mm-hmm.
know, create a product for me. Well, you're going to get the most generic thing in the world.
Right.
But if you say, I want a 3 module mini course on picture framing, and want you to write in a conversational tone, I want you all those things. Then you've got something you can use.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. Another thing we have in common. Yeah, AI is pretty cool.
Oh, I am obsessed with it. And that's what you'll have to go look at some of my Facebook posts because I have I have an AI Ashley where I have the video that speaks in all the different languages, but it's just me sitting here at my desk. And I
Wow.
know we'll have to do another call to talk all about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I've
I
trained,
actually love it.
yep. And I use another software to recreate my voice and I can mess with it and to the point where I can't even tell it's not me. So I can type something out and it says it in my voice.
That's close to dangerous.
It's really creepy. My kids hate it. They say all the time, they're like, that's too weird. I don't want to see that. But I
This would be an awful practical joke to play, but you could play one to be delivered as a message on their phone.
uh-huh.
You pass.
Oh man. Oh.
It's kind of cold in here, or whatever. My burn.
I am a huge practical joker. April 1st is a big deal in my house.
Yes.
This last year, I'm going to have to like take a minute and explain this because this was so phenomenal. But
Okay.
I moved
I'm
my
listening.
kids' cars in the middle of the night and I put a post up on our door saying, we've notified you 3 times already that we're going to do maintenance on the street at this day. We've asked you to move your cars 3 times. Because you did not, we've told them. And I used ChatGPT to write the letter. I put the town's logo on it. Everything was amazing. They kind of knew it was happening, right? They knew, Mom, this is probably a practical joke. And what they didn't realize is while that was going on, I had reset their phones to Central Time, which is an hour earlier than us or later than us.
Yes.
So actually, and I had done this in the night, but actually when they were going through all of this and I knew they weren't going to be late to school because it was actually 5:30 in the morning, not 6:30. So
Right.
then they realized, okay, we went and got their cars and they took off to go to school and they were there an hour early. So it was so much fun. So I can
Boom.
see and then we went to Starbucks and it was fine. But I can see how a practical joke like that they would really appreciate because I love it so much.
See, you and I would be dangerous together because the best one I ever pulled was on my grad school roommate, Matt. Matt and Laura were getting married, and we did practical jokes all the time. This has been part of my life forever. And Laura was just terrified. She was so scared I was going to do something awful. And then they made the mistake of their first night staying at a hotel where one of our friends was the personnel director. And I just
Oh
kind of
no.
went in, Ashley, all I did was, what are you going to do? Don't do anything. All the way through the rehearsal dinner, the reception, I just shrugged my shoulders.
Yeah, nothing.
And yeah, they came back and I picked them up. I got a flat tire or something and we're driving back. And all right, we got to know, what did you do? What do you mean? Well, every time we walked in the room, we checked the closet, we checked under the bed, we checked in the pillowcases, we checked in the sheets. Every meal we got, we thoroughly inspected. Every da da da. What'd you do? I said that. What do you
Yeah,
mean that? You guys were so psyched out
I've
about 3 months
trained you.
before. I realized, yeah, I trained you. I
I
like
didn't
that
have to
better.
do a thing.
Right? I realized I don't got to do anything. So that was my favorite, least effort, least expense.
That is so funny. We have had 1 year like that where the entire joke was, you'll see. I kept telling him, you'll see. And I had not done a thing the entire day.
Yeah, that's that's
It
been
was
good.
one of those years where I could not come up with something. This is so fun. So, I just want everyone listening to continue to hear how you can spend so little time. I mean, especially now with AI, but even before AI, you were doing this. You can spend so little time creating these incredibly valuable pieces of content, reuse them over and over and over. Now, most of the coaches that are listening right now are likely only they only have one revenue stream, and that is one-on-one coaching or group coaching, and they
Mhm.
get paid for that. So this is what I want to emphasize so strongly throughout this entire episode, that what you are creating for your clients, that what you are creating for your group programs can be broken down into smaller pieces, and you can sell that on your website. You can put pieces of that on Medium. You can have these various revenue streams. And I do this in a huge variety of ways, whether it's affiliate, me promoting affiliate products or people promoting my products as affiliates, all of these different revenue streams that aren't going to be tens of thousands of dollars on their own, that are going to be hundreds a month. But you get enough. I mean, first of all, I think hundreds a month is phenomenal. That's my internet bill. That's my phone bill. That's my
Sure. Oh yeah, I think the
electricity
same way
bill,
too.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
covering all those pieces. But when you get several of these going, it becomes a piece of your revenue so that you can have the space and energy to be creative, to really serve your clients differently, because you don't have to chase revenue just from one-on-one clients. So,
Absolutely. And folks that are listening and watching, remember, I was a relationship coach. So
mhm,
I know what it's like to sit there hour after hour, 5 to 8 hours a day, you know, sitting on your butt and nodding your head
mhm,
or coaching, and at the end of the day, your whole face is numb, your ears are numb, your mouth is numb from
mhm.
talking. And so what I did with all this is I went back into that world, into therapists and counselors and coaches and stuff. And I said, okay, and I start off kind of radically. I said, how sore is your butt lately? What do you mean? I go, well, I sat in my seat for 25 years, and they're like, yeah, I know. I'm getting, well, what I noticed from looking at your website is you've got one stream of income.
Mhm.
How would you like several with what you already know? and then we build this out for them. So, whatever kind of coach you are, this can be built out for you. And you can take these things and help people in a whole lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've got a Google spreadsheet that I look at every morning because it's got the recurring income coming in that day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fun to look at and get up and go, wow, if I don't even work today, that's coming in.
Mm.
And I want that for all coaches because, like I said, I did that for 25 years. Still play with it on the side with late teens and early 20 somethings. And so you guys can do it if you're everything you've got. If nothing else, folks, record a coaching session
Mm-hmm.
with permission, of course, um, and take the nuggets out of there, turn it into an article. Come up with here. I'll give you a couple of my article templates. Come up with the three biggest mistakes people make.
Mm-hmm.
Come up with three tips that people need to do or three secrets. Okay, and from there you can build everything.
Yeah. This is so good. So if someone were just getting started, what would be your best piece of advice? They say, "Okay, yeah, I want to start creating these passive income streams." How do they get started?
The best way to get started is to really be bad at it at first. Okay,
Hmm.
because I don't think I've told you this. Your guest here never finished his PhD in counseling psychology because my professors told me I couldn't write, and I
You
believed them.
did tell me this, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. And then one of those professors joined one of my content creation workshops. Um, and so it's okay to stink. It's okay to not know what you're doing. I mean, the first videos I did back when it took like about 27 steps to get a YouTube video up,
Mm-hmm.
my friends would go, "Were you mad when you did that video?" I said, "No." And why? I'd go back and look, and it's because I'm so focused on the steps.
Mm.
Thank goodness YouTube took that channel down. Um, nobody can see it anymore. So first step is just to start. Be
Mhm.
willing to be bad at it. You don't got it. What's the saying? You don't got to be great to start, but you got to start to be great.
Mhm.
Okay? And then the cool thing is that you don't have to be miles ahead of the people you're working with. Um, when I learned about the site that was popular before Medium was called eZine Articles way back in the day.
I used easing all the time.
So,
Mhm.
and you know how great it was until
Mhm.
it wasn't.
Yep.
Um, and you know how I found out about that? I was partners in a practice building business, and we would do a seminar, live online seminar for people once a month. And he asked me to come in and talk about my column and come up with some templates. I went, oh, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
One of the participants told me about easing articles. I had no idea. And they told me later my eyes lit up because, I had like about 1,500 articles on easing articles at that point. And,
Oh wow.
I mean, 1,500 articles out in the newspapers
Oh, right. So then
that I
you
could
could
all
go put
put,
those on easing.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
copy and paste. Um, and so, yeah, start, get it out there. It doesn't matter if you're good or not.
Mhm.
You'll get good by practice.
Yeah. And I think, when I used to hear this, I would think, yeah, that made sense for people who started 10 years ago. But I want to start a YouTube channel and I don't have the time to be bad to become good. And it was very quick. Like the little things that you don't know how to do, the little technical pieces become muscle memory very, very quickly if you
Yes,
continue doing it.
yes. It takes me about 15 to 20 minutes in the morning to create
Hmm.
a piece of content. And just another piece of encouragement with this story about being bad and then getting good. First time I ever spoke in public on anything, like what we're talking about. Um, I was invited back to the campus ministry I went to at FSU to give a talk. Okay.
Hmm.
I did a lot of things off of song cuts. Ashley, I was so nervous. I was sweating
Yeah.
and voice was shaking. You know that little gummy stuff you get on your
Yeah.
lip.
Yeah.
I sucked, and I'm so glad they didn't have video phones back then. Absolutely stunk. Um, the next year they invited me to come talk I can't believe they invited me back on a ski retreat. Right?
Uh-huh.
You know, we'll pay your fee. We'll pay your way. We'll pay for your food, your
Mhm.
lift tickets, and your skis. Are you interested? Let me check. Heck yeah.
Of
Um,
course.
and so we're between Tallahassee and North Carolina, somewhere in South Carolina, and we're pumping gas. It's the middle of the night. It's bitter cold.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm pumping gas, and a couple of kids come up to me and said, "See that guy over there?" I said, "Yeah, what about him?" He goes, "Well, he went to remember that talk you did?" I'm like, "Yes." Well, he said he just told us that he went to that talk that night with the intention of going back to his dorm and killing himself.
Oh.
And something you said made him change his mind.
Mhm.
And I'm standing there thinking, one, I'm speechless, but my only thought was, I wanted to kill myself after that talk.
Mm.
I mean,
What
what,
could I have possibly said? Yes.
yeah. And I still have no idea, but I'll
Wow.
go with that result every day.
Yeah.
So, my point there, folks, is you can create something you think is garbage, and
Mhm.
people are going to get something out of it
Yeah.
and change their lives out of it. So, get it out there.
Amazing. That is such good advice. So if I feel like you have already given us this information, but one of my favorite questions that I ask everybody is if you were to start completely over, you don't have any of the audience that you have the skills, but you don't have anything else. You have $1,000 to get started. What do you do?
Great question. I'd start a podcast like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd start writing on Medium to build my list. Okay. And I would focus on two things. Okay. Building that list
Mm-hmm.
and then finding a way to promote it. For the first 15 years of my career, I did a weekly teleseminar or webinar,
Mm-hmm.
to build the list and to make sales. Um, and then build your list. Oh, the biggest mistake I made in the beginning, two big mistakes. One was that I'd create a product and then move on to the next one. Forget all about the past one
Mm-hmm.
and just sell the next thing, even though people could have bought that. The other mistake I made was, how can I ask somebody to host me as an affiliate when I only know this, or my list is only this size, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've built my list by thousands by having other people host me on
Mm-hmm.
a webinar, teaching and making an offer. Because when
Mm-hmm.
they sign up, they get on my list. Okay. So, all that to say, don't let your list size scare you. If
Mm-hmm.
you've got 50 people on your list, find someone that's got 52 and trade services,
Mm-hmm.
trade webinars. If everybody from their list joins, you've now doubled your list. You're
Mm-hmm.
now at 100, and find the people at 100 and below. Okay. Don't try to go for the big fish right away. Excuse me. Build it from there.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is, freaking be yourself. No, you don't have to be. There's so many people that come on and they try to sound like so and so.
Mm-hmm.
And don't do that. Just be yourself. Even if you think you have no sense of humor at all, let one of your mess ups be funny, you
Yeah.
know? Because I mess up all the time and I never edit it. I always just go, all right, cool. Sometimes I'll use it as an outtake, to promote the show. Because you know how we all wait till the end of the movie, right? To
Yep.
watch,
So we
watch
can watch how
the
people messed up. Right. People are
yeah.
really into that.
So get started. Do a podcast. You don't even have to have a blog to start. Okay,
Mhm.
start building your list though, um, and then get with people at the same list size. Do some joint stuff. Create your first product,
Mhm.
your first offer, and then rinse and repeat.
Yeah. I love this. I think this is such a unique, you talk about it all the time, so you might not even be thinking it's unique, but I think for my audience it's such a unique way of thinking of my income does not just have to come from one-on-one clients, it doesn't have to come from a group coaching program, but there's all these possibilities for multiple streams of income to support people. So one of my biggest pieces of advice to everyone listening right now is go sign up to do the $97 show with Jeff. He can take a look at a piece of content of yours and teach you how to turn that into something that can bring in passive revenue. If you love what he has to say and you feel like it's completely overwhelming, he also has an offer where he will do that for you. So you don't even have to know how to do any of it to get this income stream going. So I'm really excited for people to come visit you and check that out. And before we wrap up, do you have anything else to add?
Well, yes. Um, Go use this stuff.
Mhm.
Just start. Just start. When I started, I was terrified. But I was desperate. And so, you know, um, terrified and desperate are good motivators.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
now, remember, within 2 years, I went from that sleeping in a chair in a hotel lobby to teaching workshops
Mm,
upstairs on the fifth floor.
mm,
This is doable. And you really, I always thought I'd be a therapist. I really did,
mhm,
and the move caused me to make some changes. And, I never thought I'd be doing something like this, and I never thought I'd be good at it. But, you know, start, have fun,
mhm,
and first, also identify that superpower
mm,
and pay attention to what people say you're good at that you think you're not good at. Like when I was in practice, half my clientele were adolescents and their families.
mhm.
Okay. I don't know, people tell me all the time, you're great with teens. I'm like, I breathe well too. It's no big deal. But what I found out was people were terrified of kids. And I'd
Mhm.
worked with them since I was one. So it was easy for me. So pay attention to that X, something you're good at, something people need. Okay. And then ask the people that know you, what am I good at?
Yeah.
You can say, what's my superpower? And you'll be surprised at what you hear.
Yeah. And just start charging for it. I love it. This is so incredibly valuable. I'm so excited for people to come visit you and start listening to your show and then to become a guest on your show so they can create that income.
They
How
are invited.
can let me know how people can get a hold of you? How can they go become a guest on the show?
Okay. To be a guest on the show, it's simple. Just go to jeffherring.com, JEFFHERRING, just like the fish, jeffherring.com/guest. Okay.
Perfect.
And you'll be taken to a page where you'll have three choices. You can get the free one. Okay. Because we're doing a free version now. You can get the $97 one, like I was doing, where I
Mhm,
do a whole entire outline of whatever product we build, a
mhm.
deep outline. Or there's a $497 one where I'll build that product for you. Okay.
Amazing.
And
Such
if
an
you just want
incredibly
to,
valuable offer.
thanks. And what else? That's a great way to come on the list. Just do it, do the free one and you're
Mhm,
on the list. We can move up from there. Content Profit University is jeffherring.com/CPU for Content Profit University. Jeffherring.com/Content Profit University. And folks, I want you to know something about what you can do. Okay. Because that sales page for a $997 product,
mhm.
uh, or $250 down and $150 for 5 months, um, has no sales page. It's got the bullets on the buying page.
Uh-huh.
Got the bullets above the buy page, and that's it.
Wow.
So, you don't have to. Sales letters are great, but sometimes it's good to go against the grain and just go, boom, here's what I got for you. Here's what it'll
Yeah.
do for you. Here's what you want to do next.
Oh my goodness. I love seeing that because it just reminds us how simple it can be because we grossly overcomplicate everything. And it can be so incredibly simple if you just get out there and do it.
Yep, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this, Jeff. I think that
Oh,
you've
my pleasure. My
provided
pleasure.
such an incredible amount of value. And for those of you that are listening, if you are at the point where you're ready to sit down with someone, figure out your offer, figure out what it will look like to have an offer, figure out how you can communicate about it, how you can sell it, you can also book a time to speak with me by going to talkwithashley.com and booking a strategy session. And then we can figure out how this all plays into the kind of coaching that you love to do and what you want your business and your life to look like. And also, don't forget to subscribe and like my channel if you're watching on YouTube and follow and give it a review if you're listening on a podcasting app, just because that helps us reach more individuals. So, thank you
Absolutely.
again so much for
Oh,
being here,
and
Jeff.
one more thing.
Yeah.
Everybody that's watching or listening, when you come on board for the Content Profit Show, watch for the one where Ashley is the guest because that's coming up.
Because I'll be on there soon. So I am so excited. And I will be sharing that with everyone too, because I'm
Yeah,
really excited to track the progress and see what it does for, a passive income stream of my own. So thank you so much, Jeff.
pleasure. Thank you.